Hello, I'm Samuel. I want to try to do this again since I ran into Grace, our ethical eating classmate, earlier today, and I explained shrimp welfare to her, and I realized I had way more. I knew this stuff quite a lot, and it was an important topic that I want other people to know about. So I want to try this presentation again. So the main thing I want to talk about is shrimp welfare and the industrial process and system that uh, that puts lots of shrimp in this like situation. Um, the main thing is there are lots of shrimp. Uh, we'll be looking at this from the suffering perspective, so Singer's perspective of how uh, the goal is to minimize suffering, that species, no matter what species they are, if they suffer, uh, that is a moral thing to consider. Um, so why shrimp compared to like any other vertebrate or farmed animal? The main thing is there's 5 trillion of them being killed every year, and uh, this is uh, much greater than, yeah, this is much greater than other farmed animals. Uh, one concern people have is that uh, shrimp is very small. Their biomass, how's their biomass compared to like all cows, for example? And um, the problem isn't that it's true that the if you take the sum of like the biomass of all farmed animals or cows, that kind of thing, it will be like 1,000 times greater than all the shrimp being farmed. Uh, but if we take the suffering perspective, um, shrimp appear to have like pain avoidance behavior, and that makes them uh, and I think one way to put this is uh, one serving of cow is about like 0.05% of a cow, whereas one serving of shrimp is like 15 shrimp. So uh, to eat one serving of shrimp, uh, that's equivalent to taking about like 25,000 times more lives than compared to like a cow. So when you like multiply this out for like billions or trillions of shrimp, and then even accounting for like, oh, like one shrimp suffering is not equal to one cow suffering, you still get a very big uh, number, uh, a huge amount of suffering. And part of why I care about this is it's like comparatively neglected. It's less of a uh, when we think about ethical farming, maybe we think more in terms of like cow or chicken suffering. Um, but when we think about large scale, like absolute numbers, how much attention uh, shrimp get compared to other animals, and then also how cheap interventions are to like reduce their suffering, uh, it seems to matter that it seems that shrimp welfare and shrimp farming matter way more. Um, so relating this to a class, the main things I'm looking toward are I want to focus on are the Patel stuff. So in Patel's Stuffed and Starved, we're looking at um, the industrial processes, the structural problems where uh, the incentives for corporations to for profit and what uh, farmers and the benefits of farmers and consumers, uh, they're kind of mismatched. Uh, so Patel kind of brings up this uh, hourglass thing that's very relevant here that we'll like look through for different sources, which is that um, just like how in Patel um, uh, with uh, foreign subsidies and trade agreements, um, which can like drive down costs and make it hard for uh, individual small farmers to like compete. Um, in kind of the same way, we'll see that uh, the 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 system for like producing tons of shrimp and also for like certifications of like farming shrimp, they all go toward optimizing production and increasing shrimp um, at the expense of well we thinking about uh, the shrimp experience or their suffering is not like a thing here. And one thing that really goes into this is the shrimp book. So this was the book I found in the library. Um, it's like a technical kind of manual. It goes over like shrimp biology. It goes over uh, how to manage the disease, how to make sure how do you feed them. But this is all in a very like large scale, big systems perspective. Uh, how do you cram as much shrimp as possible? How do you farm as much as them? And this this lens of optimization and production uh, is kind of like, I guess kind of characterizes the industry. Like this is uh, industry that thinks in terms of optimization, where we don't see like ethics or ethical, the term ethics or ethical even come up in the book. Um, um, yeah, so in all like uh, through yeah, especially Patel, this is just how we're seeing like corn as a production thing and uh, uh, different technologies like uh, seeds and uh, yeah, other things to improve like corn farming. We also see the same thing for shrimp. So an example of this is biofloc. Uh, this is like a technical paper where it also tries to like maximize shrimp production. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm trying to relate this to. I feel like a lot of it goes with Patel, um, because with the other authors like Rappaport or Belkoff, they're looking at the lens more on like, um, yeah, like what is an ethical view on this? Uh, for example, in Bilkoff, it's more like uh, the signaling of ethics. Um, yeah, like the certification report, it's more on uh, mm, mm, yeah, I guess I could go into it. So certification reports is on uh, how do we make sure that shrimp quality is good for like we want to reduce disease, we want to have uh, good suppliers in the market. Um, so certification can be a good thing, but also poses like a cost on producers or small farmers where uh, since it's a thing they don't actively seek out, it becomes like a burden for them uh, to adopt. Um, so I guess on the one hand, this is part of like the grocery store and uh, corporations with like advantages in like corn. Uh, a similar thing is happening with um, certifications for shrimp. I think I want to say a little bit more about Bilkoff though. That one's more about social signaling, where it could seem like things can be packaged up to look more appealing or ethical to consumers when actually uh, we're just optimizing for that signaling. Uh, we kind of label things as like more sustainable or ethical uh, for label's sake and not looking at the underlying like oh like how are the shrimp doing? Um, I think a thing that was addressed in our most recent section on Poland, on I forgot the other author, uh, definitely Poland, where he kind of argues that like the the domestication of animals, like farm animals, is like it's like a trade. They're trading their I guess they're receiving protection, they're receiving food, they're receiving being alive in exchange for uh, I guess they receive the shelter, they receive food, but we receive we take their meat, their eggs, etc. Um, even though Poland kind of is doesn't think like industrial processes of farming are that great. I don't think that argument really like lands for me since um, part of this is like appealing to like wild animal suffering, like oh like this is a bad thing already. If we put them in farms, this is like a better like this is probably like they argue that this is probably better than wild animals, like animals in the wild. But I don't think that lands for me since uh, part of what we're doing is like bringing in life. We are taking responsibility for their living situation and then eventually like their death. And when their like living experience and their lives are uh, predominantly suffering, um, especially for shrimp, where uh, lots of a large part of their lives is uh, at like disabling levels of pain. It's hard. You can't really argue that like there's existence in the benefit, especially when like this is like a very production system of like maximize shrimp, not think about their suffering. Um, yeah, I think what I want my viewers to get from this is uh, an extended example of um, Patel. Mm, I think I don't have a direct connection to like Rappaport or uh, Bill Koff right now. Um, I think the Patel stuff was more of, I think it was more striking for me. Mm. But to wrap up, I think uh, the main thing I want to emphasize is the not just power structures, but how this is this production of shrimp thing. It seems like it seems like it's already a given. Like, oh, this is a thing that we do. This is a thing we eat. Uh, let's just make more of it. And I think it'll be like helpful to think in terms of uh, what are the other goals or considerations that aren't present when we try to optimize for production. Um, and uh, yeah, and the consequences that falls on shrimp. So thank you for listening to this extended impromptu version. I think I'm more proud of this one than the other one. I think it's, yeah, more casual. Thanks for listening. Thank you.